Hello and welcome to another episode of A Day in the District, Season 4. I can't believe we're already halfway through this season. I'm your host, Chelsea Whittington. A Day in the District is a program designed to help you, the viewer, stay connected to your Gary Community School Corporation. Throughout the first part of this season, you have been meeting a lot of our team members. And today, we have another special guest from our leadership team. She is our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Cynthia Treadwell. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, I have been trying to get you on, but I know that you started with us a couple of months ago and you've hit the ground running. So I finally got a spot on her calendar so that we can talk all things academics. And I'll just start with a general introduction. Who is Dr. Cynthia Treadwell?
Wow, that is a great introduction question. First and foremost, I am a mother of 2 amazing children, and I am a wife, and I cannot forget about my fur baby. Although he can't see this, he knows,
He
right?
knows. They know.
Absolutely. And I hail from Chicago, Illinois, where I was born and raised.
Okay. What side of town?
South side
South
of Chicago,
side, okay.
Absolutely. I am a Chicago public school graduate from elementary school, high school, and I like to share this fun fact because one, it's not a sport that you see a lot of people of color representing. I received a full ride scholarship for volleyball
Nice.
from high school.
Nice.
And I attended University of Tennessee at Martin for 2 years where I played on a full ride athletic scholarship.
I love it.
Was homesick because I'm from the south side of Chicago and I was in rural Tennessee. And I came back home and attended Chicago State University, and I was blessed to receive a full ride to complete my volleyball career at Chicago State, where
That
I
is
also
wonderful.
completed my bachelor's of education.
So I'm gonna stop you there because you know my wheels are already turning. Like, what can we do with this? So certainly we have to get you connected with the girls volleyball team.
My knees are a little different
I mean,
these days.
just talking to them
Absolutely.
about scholarships
Absolutely.
and sportsmanship. You know, we just love to connect our young people with those who've been where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
So you can keep going now, but I'm gonna
Yes.
put a pin in that. And remember, I will be connecting you with the coaches and the girls.
That is a pleasure. I love athletics. And I think it's a bridge over, challenging moments and
Yes.
times. Being an athlete allows you to pour everything out on the court.
Yes.
And my passion got to show up in that space. And I actually was able to coach elementary students, high school students when I became a teacher.
Nice.
And so my love for the sport did not waver.
Okay.
If my knees would cooperate, I would still play today, but they won't. Nonetheless.
Well, coaching is still an option now. You know, we will find
I have
a
to
way.
demonstrate,
Yes,
right?
that's true.
It's harder to demonstrate when your body won't cooperate.
True.
Nonetheless, I can definitely coach you through it with my words. At Chicago State, I got a bachelor's in education, and so right after college, I went to be a classroom teacher.
Wow.
I was a 5th grade general education teacher in Chicago public schools. By far, my first class was my most favorite class.
Really?
I still track with those grown-ups today.
Wow.
I'm a part of their lives. They're a part of my life. I went right back to school to get a master's in reading. Became a reading specialist in Chicago public schools. And those are just roles that I fulfill.
Yes.
But who am I? I am a passionate educator that believes that students need opportunities to become who they dream they can be.
I love
and
that.
as an educator, we have a responsibility to create the spaces where their dreams become reality.
Yes, and the accolades and the credentials that you're sharing, though, it means a lot to our viewers. A lot of times they want to know, particularly around academics, who's at the wheel and what do they know about academics.
For sure.
And what really sparked my interest, one, is coming out of college and going into a 5th grade classroom. So we know that's around age 10,
10 or
11-ish.
11.
I'm smelling myself age is what I
Absolutely.
call it.
Absolutely.
What was that like? Because I know you were like young and they're looking at you like you're about as young as us. Who are you?
If you met them today, they would tell you. I used to tell them I was 17 because I was young and it was a challenge. And I remember this class because it was a class that nobody wanted to teach.
Oh.
It was a class that had 4 or 5 subs that all left. And by the time I got there in December, it was a class filled with a loss of hope. Academically, they were not competing with their peers in other classrooms. And so I remember going in. I got hired in December, right before Christmas break. And I went to go visit the classroom, and it looked deplorable. So I spent the 2 weeks before their return back, cleaned up the room, decorated the room, did a lot to make it feel like a comfortable space for kids.
Wow.
And when they
Sounds
came,
like a movie.
it felt like a movie because here I am, this young girl with limited resource, but I figured out a way to at least make it look presentable.
Yes.
Put desk in order and wipe down walls and things of that nature. And so when they came back, there was conversation, there was buzz. Who is this lady?
Yes, and
Right?
where are we?
And where are we? And so I said they were my favorite class because within a few short weeks, they were not the same class. We immediately built relationships. We immediately got down to the business of education. And I'm proud, at the end of the year, that class who was not performing outscored the entire building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that I'm sure solidified your path to say, hey, education is my thing. But I have to ask, why education? What made you study education to begin with?
Oddly enough, when I was 2 or 3, my aunt tells me a story that I always said I wanted to be a teacher. I had a younger brother, and I would play teacher with him all the time. He had to do homework for me in the summer. If he didn't do it, I would tell my mom. She would make him do it, yes. And I tortured him, right? I would always make him do work. So I never, ever wanted to go to school to do anything else. I enrolled as a freshman to study elementary education.
Nice.
For me, this is a call and a mandate.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Because teaching, I have been in classrooms across the district where I see different teaching styles, different types of children with different needs. And I just always say, teaching is a gift and a calling.
Yeah.
And it is not for everybody.
It's not for the faint at heart.
It is not. And so let's go on to your doctorate, because you are Dr. Treadwell. Where did you go?
I am Dr. Treadwell.
Yes.
So after my master's in reading, I went back to get another master's in general administration, which allowed me to be a principal at some point in my career. So I was a classroom teacher, reading specialist, and then I decided to be an assistant principal.
Okay.
So I did that for a few years, and then I got the itch to become a principal. And so my supervisor at the time asked me, would I come and lead this school?
Okay.
At the same time, I decided to go back to school to pursue my doctorate in educational leadership. And so I became a principal, going back to school.
All right, so we're going to put a pin in it right there. You're watching A Day in the District. We're chatting with our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Cynthia Treadwell. When we come back, we're going to learn more about that PhD and what she has planned for the Gary Community School Corporation. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
When you join the Army, the first thing they teach you is how to get in line. Not exactly the same in high school. When I enrolled in Westside Leadership Academy and joined ROTC, the first thing I learned was respect. Not just for God and country, but for myself.
Gary Schools, strong, resilient, built for education.
I said I'd never join.
Thought living on sub would be too hard.
I figured only the weatherman track storms.
I said my job wouldn't matter. Never knew how strong I was. I never thought this would be my commute.
I figured I'd never get out of my hometown.
Or be the one who stops an attack. Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is.
Welcome back to A Day in the District, and I'm still your host, Chelsea Whittington, chatting with my colleague and now friend, Dr. Cynthia Treadwell, our Chief Academic Officer. I'm going to set the stage as you and I were talking off camera. You know, I've been with the district as a consultant for many years, and then more recently as the Chief of Public and Community Relations, and I've seen a lot during the takeover, Doc, and here's what I will share with you. we worked our way through the financial piece and got the books solid, in the black, and financially sound, which is obviously something districts have to do in order to stay in business and in existence. And then the focus heavily has pivoted to academics. So it's like this big spotlight shining down on you. I noticed at the school board meetings, people are like, is that Dr. Treadwell? I want to talk to her. Everybody's like coming at you with like, I know a curriculum. You know, everybody thinks they know academics. I don't do that. I stay in my PR lane, but that's why another reason I really wanted to talk to you. So we'll get into what academics looks like for the Gary schools, but please continue on your educational journey to earning your EDD.
So, becoming a principal, going back to school to get my EDD in educational leadership. And I would say doing it at that time was divine.
Okay.
What I began to study or research in my EDD, I was able to just be in discovery real time as a school leader.
Okay.
And so my educational dissertation was on the impact of the effectiveness of SEL programs.
Wow.
And so the school that I was
For those out there, SEL, social and emotional learning.
Yes,
Look at me.
you got
Yay,
it.
I got to speak.
And what was unique about that was the school that I was leading was a school that was the lowest in the district at the time. Lots of violence, and I like to say at the time because it's no longer the lowest. Lots of violence, lots of trauma, lots of challenges. And SEL and the work that we did to support our students and our staff was paramount to how we were able to improve academically. And so meeting their social and emotional needs tied directly to their academic needs.
Yes.
We quickly learned as a staff that we could not attend to their academic desires, higher order thinking, comprehension, literacy, math, without assuring that they had the right emotional tenets to be able to effectively attend to the task.
Super important.
And so I researched it over time. So my doctorate was 4 years. So it gave me an opportunity to really, and they weren't my research study,
right?
But I was learning real time the impact.
And the implementation, I would think, also.
Yes.
And then you're wearing your green, which is mental health.
Yes.
You know, I learned that from Robin Sizemore when we wear our green, who is very instrumental in our social SEL programs in the district. So, wow, that's a lot. And hearing you say the turnaround piece, because they're no longer the lowest, piques my interest on your focus here in the Gary schools. Granted, it's only been a couple of months. It was like 3 or 4 school board meetings ago where we said, welcome, Dr. Treadwell, but I see you with principals all the time. You're in buildings, you're in meetings, you're meeting with parents and community members. What has it been like these first 2 months for you?
Busy is an understatement.
Yes.
It has really been about getting to know who Gary is as a school district, getting to understand the goals that have been set forth for the school district, hearing from teachers and administrators and staff about the historical aspect of what Gary was and the pride that is there.
Yes, I think I probably remind you of that daily.
No, but it tells a story, right? And what I realized that as the chief academic officer, I am coming into a story that is already in progress. And so hearing from every stakeholder informs me on how to best support, lead, guide, and instruct those that are a part of the work that we're trying to do on behalf of the Gary school community.
So what I really also love, Dr. Treadwell, is the fact that you are able to lead by saying, I've done it already. When you go into a classroom and talk to teachers, you know, there isn't a pushback to say, you don't know what you're talking about.
For sure.
Yes, I do. I've been a teacher. And then when you work with your assistant principals and principals, it's like, yes, I do. I've been an assistant principal or principal. I've been in your shoes. That's very helpful and needed in this district. My question now to you, Doc, is the similarities. Chicago is a stone's throw away from us. Public schools, challenges, less fortunate, some families, poverty, all those things. How do you draw that parallel? What are the similarities that will allow you to be successful?
So many similarities. I had an opportunity to be on a panel, and I said to the audience, Gary kids are Chicago kids, and Chicago kids are Gary kids. They go across the state lines very often.
Yes.
And so I think everything that I learned and every role that I fulfilled in Chicago truly prepared me to support, lead, guide, instruct, as I said before, everything that we need to do to accomplish the goals that we have set forth. I know what high quality instruction looks like. I know what strong instructional leadership looks like, sounds like, feels like.
Yes.
And I can partner with people, one, at the place of where they are, and then provide resources, professional learning, conversations, coaching, and development to build their capacity, to do the hard work of educating our kids. Education is not an easy task.
No.
You have 30 some odd different individuals in your classroom, and being able to attune to what their needs are is a heavy feat, right? Heavy is the crown. Who wears it?
Yes.
And education is often criticized, but it's hard work and it's heart work.
Yes.
And for me,
I like that
leading
term.
from the heart allows me to do the hard work.
Well, I am already starting to see the traction that you are making in the buildings, the accountability, which we will talk about in the next segment. But talk to me a little bit about your last role before we stole you. Oh, is that right? Should I say that? Before we attracted you over to the district.
So prior to coming to Gary, I was the executive director for the Office of Social and Emotional Learning. And in that role, I had the opportunity to oversee all things social emotional for the entire district. Wow. So Chicago has over 600 schools.
And we have 11.
Several hundred thousands of students, several thousands of teachers and educators and parents and families. And so I was instrumental in really leading the work alongside my colleagues. It was a department already in existence, and so I came into and still established vision on what we were trying to accomplish. And I will say this, the one thing that I'm most proud of as I transitioned out was I started a conference for educators where it was about educators putting their mask on first for themselves. It wasn't about the curriculum they were going to teach. It wasn't about what they were going to do for students. It was about them. And I think when we take care of the adults in the buildings that are taking care of our kids, we will find a healthy and whole school that is thriving and experiencing great academic growth.
What a word. We're going to pause right here for our break, and when we come back, we're going to hear more from Dr. Cynthia Treadwell, Chief Academic Officer. Stay right there.
Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life.
It's gross. I don't really want to talk about it. She didn't want to at first, but I mean, it's no big deal. Everybody does it.
I was ready. Totally ready, because we had been practicing this dance for weeks.
He was supposed to take this girl to this dance, but
I sprained my ankle at track practice.
I hate sharing anything personal. It's so disgusting. For the dance, I let her wear my shoes and she hated it, but I thought she looked great in them.
he could barely even walk.
I ended up taking some pills for my pain.
Yeah, they were my mom's, but
it didn't go well.
If it's not yours, if it's not yours,
if it's not yours,
hey you.
Don't take it.
Don't take it.
Don't take it.
Don't take it. You won't believe what happened next.
And we are back. Can you believe we're already in the final segment of A Day in the District? And yes, I'm still your host, Chelsea Whittington. Dr. Cynthia Treadwell is our newly appointed Chief Academic Officer, and we're talking all things academics. When we left off from the last segment, you were talking about the conference that you planned before you joined the district, and then you have an exciting update about that conference.
So the conference is going to continue.
Okay.
And on my way out, my team did ask me to come back and be the keynote.
Nice.
And what makes it so amazing is I'm passionate about helping educators be healthy educators, be better educators. And so I told him, oh no, you can get someone else. But I considered it an honor because it was a labor of love and it was a hard push.
Yes.
And to be in a space where you see educators getting what they need, crying, getting their buckets filled so that they could go back and fill the buckets of kids was super impactful. And so leaving that legacy in the district is one that I'm super proud of.
Well, I will tell you, I'm excited for us to go accompany you to make sure you come back.
I'll be back.
That we can cheer for you during your keynote. So let's turn our final segment's attention to Gary Community School Corporation. As you have spent these last couple of months with us, looking at what our curriculum looks like, our academics, are we doing some things right? Where do we need to be headed? We're asking our chief now. What do you think?
So we are setting some big, audacious goals. Okay. We all know that Gary has a lot of work to do. And in order to do that work, we are really focused on building the capacity through professional learning and developing not only the teachers in the classroom, but also the principals. And so currently, we are planning a robust professional development that is going to be rolled out on a monthly basis for school staff, but bi-weekly for administrators, where we're spending time digging into the data and asking ourselves the hard questions. Did kids get it? And if they didn't, coming up with robust plans to improve that, whether we are reteaching content or we are figuring out an alternative way to teach so that kids can get it. We are endeavoring that kids leave us better than we found them.
Yes, and I love the fact that you're talking about the data, you're talking about the professional development, because for those of us who are non-academicians, we just look at, well, what do the test results say? What are the test scores? They're important, but they're only a piece of the picture. Can you speak to that, Doc?
Yes, and so when you think about going to college for education, as I said earlier, I have my bachelor's and all of those things. They don't really teach you in depth how to teach kids. There are some fundamental classes that we take, but it's really on-the-job training that improves your craft. And teaching is a craft, it's an art.
Yes.
And so spending time helping educators unpack their craft and learn new strategies and new techniques, we have to spend time doing that. Sometimes doing what we always done, we keep getting the same result.
That's right.
And so we want to spend some time this year doing something different so that we can really make sure that Gary is the Gary that we all know it to be.
Yes.
And that we all hope that it will be.
I love it.
And so helping the teachers understand their craft, helping the principals lead that work and give feedback and talk about data and see what's happening on behalf of kids. It's just the bare bones. Like, we're just scratching the surface to get us on the right track.
Well, I'm excited for you, and I'm already starting to hear feedback from our administrators of some paths and inroads that we're taking that are new for them, and I think that makes their roles exciting. And it also, again, back to Dr. Stokes-ism, our superintendent, about accountability and inspect what you expect. And so I love to see the engagement, and I too am getting immersed deeper into the relationships with the administrators, finding out what they need to know. We're learning more about attendance and how critical that is, that they have to be in school in order for them to get the learning that they need, the teaching and the learning. So when it comes to curriculum, are there new programs that we're rolling out, or new, I don't know, the titles, something new, or adaptations? That's the word I'm looking for. I'm trying to sound like I'm an educator. Are we textbook adaptations, things like that? What are some of those things on the horizon?
So we do have curriculum in every grade level that we are implementing.
Okay.
And we are looking at how we're not just having a new curriculum, but how we're implementing it, making sure that we're implementing it with fidelity, but not just using a box curriculum to make decisions on behalf of kids. We're also looking at the different resources that we need. And so I am pleased that we have a plethora of resources in the district. We are not resource
poor. Yes.
We have a plethora, but now it's tying all of those pieces together to make sure we're using the right resource at the right time with the right group of kids. And so that takes time to build an understanding of, I have this tool. I was talking to a principal the other day, and they're excited about using one resource. It's called IXL. And basically it's tied to our state assessment, and it gives kids a learning path. And so the learning path says you need to work on this, and if they do this on a regular basis, we should see growth.
Okay.
And so we have lots of resources like that in the district, and principals are figuring out how to tie the bow on it, how to make sure teachers have access to it. And my team and those that I work with, we're figuring out what are the professional development needs to make sure that we're using it well. And
I
so,
love it.
Yeah.
As we get ready to wrap up, we're at the 2-minute mark. I can't believe this, but here's your test. You have a lot of folks and departments that report to you. So what is your org chart? What are the different teams?
Yes, so we have a professional development arm.
Okay.
That's all thing PD for coaches, principals, classroom teachers.
Okay.
Then we also have a curriculum and assessment arm. And so that is all things analyzing curriculums that we have in the district, looking at our assessments, and we have lots of them within the district where we're looking at what kids know. And then the other arm is multi-tiered systems of support, so MTSS. And so it's a lot of work.
You have some work to do,
We
Dr.
have a lot of work to
Treadwell.
do.
Well,
Yes.
I love it, and know that you have a fantastic team here to back you up as we get ready to wrap this segment up. As you can see, you have on your green, I have on my red. We're kind of in the holiday season. Any special plans for the holidays?
Rest.
Rest.
I left Chicago on Friday and started in Gary on a Tuesday.
Okay.
Rest.
It is time to rest. Well, I just want to thank you for everything that you've done so far. In a quick nutshell, if you would just speak to our stakeholders, families, about how they can get involved and help with academic success in the district. That's your camera.
Yes, and so we need parents as partners. We need you. We cannot do this work without you. You send your best and your brightest to Gary schools on a daily basis. And so read with your child at night. Check their homework. Ask questions of the teachers. Talk to the teachers. School is different than when I went to school. The way kids are learning and the way teachers have to teach, it is not the same. And so it is important for you to connect with us and partner with us. You're invited in, and the principals are ready to receive you. Teachers are ready to receive you. Ask the questions. Send an email. Do the homework. And if you are not certain always on what we're asking kids to do, we have online resources that you can use to support your child at home. We want to help you as you help your child.
Well said. Dr. Cynthia Treadwell, our Chief Academic Officer, it has been my pleasure. Happy holidays to you and yours, and happy holidays to you. We'll see you in 2025.
WSTG